And welcome in to the Rob and Kale Show. I'm Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us this evening. I apologize. We didn't start the show a little bit earlier. There's something with this restream. I jackpot. We got to have a meeting with the board, and we have to figure out the stream yard to be silly.
Did you say
Anyway,
it started earlier?
no, I meant I wanted to start the show like on time, but I couldn't get the restream to play the startup video. It was being
It's 9:01. It's right. That's right
well,
there.
well, there you go. Anyway, shout out to the folks already checking in. Jackpot over there enjoying
At least I
yourself.
came. At least I showed up tonight. I mean,
I know. I mean, you were.
goddamn.
Yeah, you were like these fucking millennials. You didn't fucking show up for your job, and
Yeah.
you waltzed in here on Sunday like nothing fucking happened.
Well, I've talked like the millennials. Hey, you should have called me.
Yeah. Well, you know what? First of all, we were goofing. Jackpot rarely misses a show. But I did text you, but I figured, man, you were fucking tired and I didn't want to bother you. So that was
that was my bad in that I laid down to take a nap before the show, and normally I'll wake up, but I had an alarm set to go to work the next day, and my dumbass forgot. Duh, you can set 2 damn alarms on your phone,
right. It's
but
not a big deal. We did miss you because it is the Rob and Kale show. Gotta have Kale.
Put the volume down. Shit.
Yeah, so there you go with Jackpot. He is here this evening. And it's so weird because I did my own radio show by myself for years, and it's a completely different program than this program is. But I'm so used to having Kale there that it messes me up when he's not. So there's that. We got to get into it, Jackpot. I mean, I want to. First of all, the Callaway's Pickup Bracket Challenge is up and running. My wife is currently in 10th place, which, baffles me because she doesn't watch much basketball. But, the Sweet 16 concludes tonight with a couple of games. You got Iowa State and Ole Miss playing right now. And you've got Michigan State and I don't remember who the fuck they're playing. Michigan State's playing somebody. Those are the last 2 games.
Michigan State's playing. I don't know. It's somebody they should beat. Oh, fuck, I can't remember, dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it wasn't Ole Miss. Oh no, you just said Ole Miss.
Ole Miss is playing Iowa State. Michigan State is playing New Mexico. And Iowa State is getting trounced by Ole Miss right now, 38-25. New Mexico is beating Michigan State 14-11. About 13 minutes to go in the first quarter. There are a lot of brackets out there that are going to go to shit if New Mexico can pull off the upset. But UConn pulled off an upset and shit on that bracket today, man.
Yeah, I'm in pretty good standing here. I'm at 430 points, 420. The leader's at 470, so
yeah,
ain't too far off. I picked some upsets there. Trouble was I fucked up with Kentucky. I had them out in the first round, and that one was that kind of messed up. That one up there. But I mean, other than that, I picked some decent ones. I needed Maryland to beat this fucking Colorado State team by more than 8 tonight to keep a parlay going, but doesn't look like they're going to do it. Maryland's not going to do anything to help South Carolina people out, so fuck them. They might get beat.
They might.
Another thing about the tournament this year, you're seeing a lot more of the favorites winning these games, and the more traditional powers seem to be not slipping up. Do you think that with the transfer portal being what it is and used as much as it is, and NIL now, do you have a feeling that we're going to start seeing less and less of these do wop wop feel good stories in the tournament going forward?
No, and I tell you why. The Clemson Tigers went out there and they got walloped by fucking. I know it ended up losing by 2, but that game was over at the half. They had 13 points at the half, Jackpot.
Yeah.
So you're going to have teams that are going to do that are going to overlook some of these lighter weight teams on as far as legacy goes, and they're going to go out there and get their dicks kicked in. So yeah, I mean, I think that can happen, Jackpot.
Well, I know, but just based off of Clemson's strength of record and the net rankings of the teams they've been beating, I don't know if they were really that good or not.
I mean, you know what? I'd love to. I wish I could argue with you on that point.
I'm not trying to throw shade at Clemson here, but I mean, facts are facts. I mean, they rarely played a team ranked inside the net top 50 this year, which is crazy that we're playing in the ACC and everybody's that bad. But
well, the ACC has gone through. I mean, we can talk about that because that's a fair thing, and the ACC has gone through this setup where they lost a lot of their great coaches. When you lose Mike Krzyzewski, who, regardless of what you think about him, the man could coach. When you lose Roy Williams, when you lose Jim Boeheim, when you lose guys like that.
I mean, Coach Shire at Duke's not part of the problem. He's actually overachieved. I mean, he looks like he might actually win some games in this tournament where Krzyzewski was always famous for shitting the bed against – who do you lose to? Like Lehigh one year, and
they lost it. They
lost Mercer or somebody like that.
Mercer 1 year. So yeah, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of
South Carolina.
Well, no, that's true, but look, that's South Carolina team. I mean, we can look at that team from afar. I mean, your center ended up playing in the NBA, Silva. And then you had the guy in the backcourt whose name escapes me, but
Thornwell.
Yeah, Thornwell. Sedarius Thornwell was an NBA player. I think he's still in the league. So you had talent on that team, and Frank Martin hasn't done shit at UMass. But we're not going to sit here and say the man doesn't know his X's and O's, because he does. So I mean that, to say that was an upset was. When you really think about it, it really wasn't.
He probably doesn't have much talent at UMass. I don't know.
Yeah, Dwayne noticed, very good. PJ Dozier, that's another one. Yeah, Gamecock Chuck was correct on that. PJ Dozier's still playing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had at least 3 NBA players on that team, and Maryland is up 69-68 with about 20 seconds to go.
Very well said. Jackpot only looks at the negatives of these coaches. Well, that's not fucking true. I just gave Coach Shire at Duke props.
Well, anyway, I want to put this out there, Jackpot, and I should have texted you this beforehand. Oh. There were Clemson fans talking about how embarrassed they were about the loss, which, yeah, it's embarrassing, okay? But they were talking about this is one of the worst Clemson basketball losses ever. And I just looked at them and I was like, you don't remember the teams in the early 2000s that went 9-21. You don't remember those teams. And I looked them up because it was like, it made me laugh because when you think about the teams that Clemson lost to, there was a season there where they lost to, I think, Charleston Southern. I mean, they lost to the lowest of the low as far as basketball programs go. And look, I've given Brad Brownell shit, but he got the team in the tournament. You had a shot to play for the NCAA championship. Did it work out for you? No.
They lost to Charleston Southern
in one season. Yeah, they lost to Charleston. I think it was.
I don't
Charleston.
remember that, but I'm not saying it didn't happen. Well,
no,
South Carolina, the first year Frank Martin was there, they lost to Upstate.
Yeah. So all right. So let's look back at this. Let's look from 1999. Clemson went 11-20 overall. Let's see here. They lost to Wofford 79-74 at home.
Was that when Larry Shiat was the coach?
Yeah, I think so. In 1999,
he's kind of like the forgotten.
They lost to Wisconsin Green Bay by 17.
Damn.
They lost by 10 to Penn State. They beat Charleston Southern that year. They lost to That's the one. They lost. Here's the crazy thing, Jackpot. On December 11th of that year.
What year was this? 2000?
1999, 2000 season. Okay.
Oh,
so on December the 11th, they lost to SC State at home. South Carolina comes in on the 16th, and they beat South Carolina.
That's not surprising.
I mean, that South Carolina team wasn't very good, but that's not the point. The point that I'm trying to make to these
that South Carolina team was just like 2 years removed from being like a number 2 seed.
Right. But
Maryland's going to lose.
Holy shit. Speaking of which, that season, Clemson lost to App State. They lost by 40 to Duke. I mean, just a laundry list of just horrible losses. And, they talk about that, and I'm like, this is the most embarrassing Clemson loss ever. Brother, you haven't watched any Clemson basketball.
I've been down to South Carolina before, seeing us lose to Davidson.
Well,
when Davidson was in the SoCon. I mean, not.
Yeah, here's the other one. Clemson the next year lost to the Latvia club Ventspils. I don't even know who the fuck that is. They lost.
They lost the exhibition game.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It just says, hold on, I can bring up the recap. There's a recap here. Latvia, starting guard Kristaps Pernis and Sandius Boskiewicz combined for 13 made threes and 50 points, leading Latvia club Ventspils to a 113-104 win over Clemson at Littlejohn. So that was an exhibition game. But I'm just saying, the reality is, to sit back and say that Clemson loss to McNeese was one of the most embarrassing losses ever shows that you haven't been a fan of Clemson hoops and you haven't suffered through 12 and 20 seasons. You haven't suffered through they had, I think, one season they didn't win a game in conference play. You don't know anything about that bullshit. So stop with this whole nonsense of then they want to run their mouths about firing Brad Brownell. Look, I have changed the tune on Brad Brownell. The guy got you to the fucking tournament. We were in the Elite Eight last year and hung with Alabama. Not saying we should have won. I'm just saying things change a little bit. We had an opportunity to. Now these people are talking about we should fire the head coach. You don't know what you're talking about. Absolutely, you have no clue what you're talking about. So I just want to put that out there, Jackpot. It is batshit what these people are running their mouths about right now.
Yeah, they're talking about South Carolina losing to Davidson when they had Stephen Curry. No, I'm talking about like back before that. I mean, this is back in the 90s when Davidson wasn't any good. They were in the Southern Conference. Obviously, we weren't good either. But, yeah, we did lose to them too. I remember that. I remember losing to him in the NIT now.
Yeah, it's just
Maryland won, motherfuckers.
Jesus.
Of course, you're going to win, but you're not going to cover. You're not going to cover for my parlay, you fucking pile of shit. Your ugly damn flag. It's like somebody wiped their ass with it. I can't. I hate them. Fuck them. Fuck them and fuck their stupid football coach and fuck their stupid basketball coach on the way out the door, too. Fuck Lester Brazell's dumbass, too, by the way.
Oh yeah, and fuck Ralph Friedgen. He was there. Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck his fat ass.
Yeah. I got nothing for you on that. Anyway, as we're rolling along here, though, I think we're at the half, and it looks like
Yeah, we did. Michael says he didn't remember us playing Steph. We did. It was the that would have been 09. That would have either been like Darren Horn's first year or like Odom's last year, and we played in the NIT, and they played in Columbia, and we lost to them in the first round. I remember that now, like 10 points or so.
Yeah. Anyway, there's that. By the way, we did watch, in some other tournament news, we did watch the South Carolina women commit murder the other day where they beat some team by like 100 points.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the mess of that?
And that team had only lost like 4 games.
I mean, you won by like 100 though, right? Wasn't that the?
It was 60. They won 108 to 48.
There was one women's team that won by 100. I can't remember who it was, but it wouldn't surprise me with South Carolina. But the headline
100.
Yeah, one game in the NCAA tournament. Hold on. Women's tournament 100 point.
Jerry said Ralph was a good ball coach. That's true. He was. That was Maryland was pretty good then. I think they won the ACC with him back in like 2000 or something. I want to say.
I don't remember.
Yeah, they made the Orange Bowl, I think.
Yeah. They were really good. Anyway, so South Carolina today, they beat Indiana 64 to 53.
Yeah, they didn't play their best.
According to, there was a fire put under them, the Raven Johnson said. Apparently, Hoosiers guard Cindy Parrish noted during a pregame news conference Saturday was South Carolina not having Camila Cardoso and Ashlyn Watkins this year. Without a 6'7" kid in there with Camila and Ashlyn Watkins being into the beginning of this year, that definitely helps us. So apparently that pissed them off, but they only won by 11 at home. Ta-da! But none of that shit matters because Dawn Staley knows how to coach. Dawn Staley knows how to get her women out there, and they know you better put boot to ass. So
belt to ass,
boot to ass, whatever. Anyway,
those these corn or whatever it is, these Midwest cream of wheat bitches, none of them can hang with our stuff. I mean, I think Iowa learned that last year, and so I guess it was time to go on ahead and teach Indiana that same thing.
Well, and that's the other thing too is that not to get too crazy into it, but you can make an argument that Iowa had 2 WNBA players and probably one of the best WNBA players in Caitlin Clark, and they still got their ass handed to them by South Carolina. So good luck, bro. I mean, when South Carolina loses, that's how dominant Dawn Staley has them. When they lose, it is a national story. That's how good they are. And, you need more programs run like that because they're squeaky clean. Everybody's on the damn honor roll. I don't know how the hell she does it. But anyway.
I'd like to know.
I'd like to know too. All right, Jackpot. So we've got, I know people are talking about there's only one ACC team left in the tournament. That would be the Duke Blue Devils, who hammered poor Baylor today. I mean, they're on a completely different level. You've got Kentucky winning today. Florida's still in the mix. Who else from the SEC is still there, Jackpot?
Ole Miss is playing
right now. They have an 11-point lead at the half over Iowa State. Yeah, I mean, Kentucky's looking pretty good too. They look good today.
Yeah, I think everybody else is already sayonara.
Sayonara, except for them, yeah.
Mizzou ate shit first round.
Gonzaga throat punched Georgia.
Vandy lost.
Vandy lost.
Yeah.
So
that was a tough matchup for Georgia in the first
Arkansas
round.
Still in the mix. They won yesterday over St. John. So Calipari knocked off Patino, and of course Tennessee. Sorry about that, Billy. We forgot to mention that, but yeah, Tennessee won last night. They're in the mix too. All right, so I'm going to put the link out over here if you guys want to join us. We'll put it over here in the comment section. Let you guys get after it. Man, it's been a crazy tournament, Jackpot. It really has. I mean, you haven't had the upsets or anything, but it just seems like you might be due for some later on. You know, I mean, the biggest upset was, as far as seeding goes, I think was the Clemson game. I don't think we had any higher seeds than 12 left, right? I don't think so. I don't know. I have to look.
There was another 12-5. Memphis lost to Colorado State. That was a 12-5.
But I don't think we have any 13 seeds. I mean, there aren't really any of those.
No. So. Your buddy Stephen A. Smith the other day on his show, whatever it is, The First Take, he quoted that Clemson was horrific. They were a disaster. As impressive as McNeese might be, there are certain things that is really good about you, no matter how great McNeese may have been. The bottom line is Clemson was historically bad. They seemed ill-prepared. They didn't know what the hell they were doing.
Well, a couple of things on that. Stephen A. Smith just runs his mouth, and he's gonna run his mouth and just say stupid shit. He said that. Remember when they tried to let him do commentary on UFC fights, and he said that Cowboy Cerrone looked like he wasn't ready to fight, and I basically. Everyone told him, why don't you go and tell Cowboy Cerrone that? Even though he got knocked out, let's see how that works out for you. So Stephen A. Smith just says bullshit. But
I'm sure he didn't want that smoke.
Yeah, but to be honest, in the first half, Clemson looked like they were sleepwalking. And then they turn it on in the second half. How do you score 13 points in one half and then 54 in the second half? It just
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think that McNeese built that lead up, but I think they didn't have the depth in the second half to really compete with Clemson. But they were ahead by so much it didn't matter. If the game had lasted another minute, they probably would have lost. Unfortunately, games are played in 40 minutes, not 41.
Colorado Buff still sucks, says Stephen A. Smith knows his basketball. So, all right. Well, Stephen A. Smith knows the NBA. He doesn't know shit about college hoops. So there's that. Go and look at some of his cold takes he has out there on college basketball.
What about this clip that I sent you, or I'm sure you had already sent it today, of this crybaby Connecticut UConn coach? What the fuck?
I'm going to play that. Can I play that, Jackpot? Let me see if I've got it here. You sent it to me. Where is it? Where did you send it to me? Okay, here it is. I got it here.
It was text. No, it was on Facebook Messenger.
I'm pulling it up right now. Let's see here, and then that way you can we can show it here. So let me share this here. Share screen. Share that one. Share. Come on. All right, here we go. So here is the reel here, where this is this idiot Hurley. Let's see if it's gonna play. Play it. Come on. They don't do that to you, man. I hope they don't do that to you. Yeah.
So he's walking back through the tunnel after the game's over, and Baylor's waiting to go out on the court.
Right.
And he tells, I guess, the Baylor coaches or players, I hope they don't fuck you like they fucked
Yeah,
us.
he was upset with the officiating, which is comical to
What
me
the fuck?
because if you go back to last year's final,
He just freeze up. Look at that. He's frozen in time. Unfreeze yourself, sir. Is the whole stream frozen? Can y'all hear me? Hello. Can y'all hear me? He seems to be frozen up over there. Froze like Klubnik. But he's just frozen over there, guys. I don't know. Okay, you can hear me. He's gone. Anyway, all right. I want to talk about some football stuff here going on. I was listening to Cole Kubelik's podcast that he does, the Cube Show, and he listed his top 5 transfer portal running backs that'll be entering the SEC this year from other teams, and he listed Rashul Faison, who will be joining the Gamecocks, as his number 2 running back from the transfer portal. Likes his shiftiness. He likes the way he kind of runs downhill a little bit. Kind of a big-bodied type back. One thing he didn't particularly like about him is pass protection, his pass pro. That's not a good thing. Now, is that something he can work on? Yeah, but we got to kind of see that from you, from where you come from. Which with these running backs, everybody wants to run the ball, right? Because running the ball is fun. Running, fun. Being running back, fun. Having to block, not so fun. But, you ain't got to be great at it. You just got to be – you basically got to just provide some kind of obstacle just to give that quarterback that extra second to make that decision, right? Just keep that defensive end off his ass for just a second. Or hem up that defensive back just for a second so your running back can make that cut. Now, what am I talking about? He's the damn running back. We're talking pass pro. Stick your face in there. And it's tough. Some guys don't like to do it. They just want to run the ball and just fuck off. I guess throw a shoulder into a guy and think that's going to work. It's not. You need to let them run over you. They have to run over you. They basically have – oh, shit. They basically have to – Ziggy, get down. Get down. They basically have to cut you off in order to get through you and get to the quarterback. And, if you're providing – get down – an obstacle, they're not going to be able to do that. And when I played guard and center in high school, I was undersized on the offensive line, but you stayed low. You kept your pad level low. Rob said his internet dropped. He needs to pay his bills, and that wouldn't happen. That's kind of how that works. But, if you kept your shoulder on this side of their body, they couldn't cut your shoulders and head off to make a play. You're always going to come out on top if you just practice technique. So we'll see how Rashul Faison does. As we wait on him to rejoin the show here, let's see what we got going on in the world of basketball right now. I may go on ahead and turn this over. And I'm looking at the women's tournament right now. I don't need the women's tournament. I need the men's tournament. So that's what y'all are interested in. Ole Miss trouncing Iowa State at halftime. Looks like here's the part where Carolina Jackpot's bracket is going to start coming unraveled. because I did not have Ole Miss going to the Sweet 16 on my bingo card here. Nor Michigan State, New Mexico. And it looks like they may. They're going to be they're going to be behind at halftime. It looks like to New Mexico, but we'll see how that works out. We didn't think that Maryland was going to win either, but they did. They pulled it out at the end. Did Rob in the transfer portal? No, his internet did. Matt says Rob needs. Yeah, you might need to get with him on that. He does need some help with his internet stuff there. Thank goodness mine hasn't dropped me yet. It hadn't done anything silly here. Jackpot was the first one to practice and the last one to leave. That's not totally untrue. Not totally untrue. I didn't mind practice. I didn't mind practice. I liked it when we did Oklahoma drills and stuff like that. I liked hitting people. I like contact. I like the physicality of the game.
All right, Jackpot. Can you?
That's what made the game.
Can you hear me over there?
I can hear you.
Good. My internet has dropped, so I'm having to go from my phone here. Let's welcome in Peckerhead to the show. Peckerhead, welcome to the show.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are y'all doing?
Man, better than we deserve.
Well, maybe Rob's not. Did you miss a payment over there, sir?
No, it's not that. It's for some reason it's like my internet is just not working. I don't understand.
Damn.
It's saying connecting, but then it's not. I don't know what the deal is with it. So I'm trying.
You gotta get that Starlink, man.
Yeah,
but I mean, I'll just take this opportunity to say it early. The glue guy was the difference, and I called that last show. Amir or a Khan for McNeese State. I don't think they win without him. Personally speaking, I don't think they win without him. So he was downplayed. I was laughed at and accosted when I brought that up.
Right.
And I'll be damned if it didn't come to fruition though.
Well, that guy transferred too, but he's transferring to NC State. So follow the bag.
Yeah, so we were both give Rob his credit. He was right about that too, which is just crazy. I mean, managers transferring, everybody's transferring, fucking professors are going to be – whoever's passing out them A's, they're probably going to NC State with them too, because I doubt the McNeese State, is really hitting the books hard for their basketball program. But
wow,
it's a bit ridiculous. But Rob or Kale, I came in a little late. I heard you had some bad luck on your parlay. Have you had any good luck lately, though? Anything nice to speak of as far as you cashed anything lately? For March?
I haven't done worth a damn since the regular season ended. This tournament's been kicking my ass.
Damn.
Very much so.
So Amir Khan hit the portal. Yeah, he did hit the portal. It's a sad world we live in, Michael. Sad world we live in. But I wanted to talk about, because you were mentioning the Pass Pro, Kale. I don't know if you saw what I had said in the chat. Did you know that Faison's, he put out, I think it was like 15 or 20 pounds he's gained since the offseason of joining the Gamecocks? So because he came in pretty undersized, I think that's probably going to help, and that's probably the reason they beefed him up was chipping at the line. So
that's good. Hopefully it doesn't slow him down.
Yeah, that's kind of the fine line you got to walk, but
especially with his cuts and stuff.
Yeah. So we'll see. That's a good point. I mean, Attaway, he's probably not the best at pass pro either. To be quite honest, you saw Rocket do a lot of that work last year. So that's probably going to be the biggest hole that Rocket's leaving, is just that pass pro from the running back position. But I think one of the pros of not having Rocket is what do you have, 6-7 fumbles last year? I mean, I don't think we're –
he had quite
I don't think we're going to have to worry about our running back busting a 50-yarder and then getting hawked down and stripped from behind pretty much every single
Well, Norris had his share of fumbles
he
too, and then he seemed to kind of clean that up. So
yeah, but Rocket never did. Rocket had that fumble even in the Clemson game.
yeah,
So I think that's probably a plus we're going to get by not having him. I mean, he's honest to God, as far as barrel security goes, he's got to be the worst Gamecocks running back I've ever seen in that aspect. I certainly can't think of another one who's coughed it up that much. Especially on like key runs too, not even like it just gets hit out in the hole or something. But like he must have got hawked down and stripped from behind about 3 times I can think of certainly this year. So
I can't think.
I mean, as for all his worth, he was definitely piss poor at holding the loaf. So definitely a plus there. By the way, you saw that O lineman commit we got? Hopefully, I don't know if we'll be able to keep him, but it's early. It spells well.
I did. It's a consensus 4-star. Carver's Bay High and Hemingway, Mr. Zion Giles. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Well, there's another one out there too. It's a 5-star that we're trending for, and he's out of Virginia. And he's been to South Carolina like 3 or 4 times on their official visits, but he keeps coming back. And some of the insiders have told the people over at the Big Spur that they'd be surprised if he didn't end up playing in Columbia. So
I wouldn't be mad at that one.
That's Columbia, South Carolina, not Como.
Oh God, yeah.
Well,
Shit. Why would a Virginia kid want to go to Missouri anyways? All the 5-stars they get are typically in-state, right?
Pretty much. They're in that St. Louis area.
Be able to get that NIL in high school.
They won't stay for the most part. It's like that Williams Raw Weenie kid from last year came, committed, stayed there 1 year, and left.
He's getting 2 years of payment just for sitting 1 year, if you think about it. Because he's getting that whole senior year, he's getting NIL. Or even if he committed as a junior, he's getting NIL. Oh, what's up? Back on the desktop.
Yeah, so I was able to figure that out. I don't know. The wife had to reset our router. I don't know. Shout out to Karen producing the show tonight.
Yeah, Karen's the glue that holds Rob together. That's just
fucking weirdest thing. It drops like that in the middle of the damn thing, you know?
Yeah, you probably just cloud coverage or something. It happens.
Down here in the chat, Thomas asked me what was my height and weight in high school. I was around 5'8", 190.
That's a good weight. That's a good build for a high school center, if you're asking me. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, back then, I mean, it was back in 1992. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, and I did. I mean, and sticking with my blocks, I mean, I usually graded out pretty good because I always stuck with my blocks. And our coach taught me, you stay with those blocks, you're going to end up knocking somebody down. It doesn't matter if they're bigger than you. You stay underneath them and you stay on them, they're going to end up going backwards, and usually they'll end up on their ass. So I had a lot of knockdown blocks, and my technique was pretty good. I actually landed on the Greenville News Piedmont, which was the name of the newspaper back then. Once a week, they would put out the all-county team from the week before, usually on Thursday before that coming Friday's game for the last week. And I landed on there 3 times on it my senior year, and they put your picture in the paper for my efforts against Liberty, Broome, and the Chapman Panthers.
I don't know.
Hold on, we got to read Jay's super chat here. He gave us $4.99 for Peckerhead's hat fund. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you, sir. Is there a more glorious garment one can wear than the cocky hat?
I hope you have 2 of those. You can.
Can you hear it? What'd you say?
I said, I hope you have 2 of those so you can shit in one and cover it up with the other one.
Oh, hell no. Well, I'm undefeated wearing this, man. Wore it to the Clemson game and the Missouri game. Actually, no, I wore it to the Georgia State one, too. I think I'm 3-0 in this hat.
No.
So we're gonna roll with it. And we'll know 4-0 because I worked at the Vandy game. This hat is actually liquid Gamecock gold. When I'm not donning it, we don't usually do well. So
That hat went to Nashville.
Oh hell yeah, it did. Hell yeah. It did.
Oh damn! You should have got the hot tour girl to sign it.
Shit. Or the Pimp Vandy when he was out there. You remember that pregame? The SEC shorts Pimp Vandy.
Yes.
A hell of an entrance, man, into that absolute dump. But yeah, regardless, I think it's talking about that O lineman that committed. I think it's more of a microcosm of kind of what I've been saying for 2 years now, and that's Shane Beamer has dominated South Carolina State recruiting. He goes in Clemson. They'll get 1 or 2 of the top 5 usually. 1 or 2 of the top. Well, not even usually. Some years we clear out. I think the year with Cam Pringle and Dylan Thompson, I think we had all the top 5 in the state. But since Shane Beamer's here, we've been winning the in-state recruiting, and I think that's really been key to the success. And sprinkling it in with getting people from like Maryland and DC and all that.
Well, I mean,
but you got to establish a base. Like, can you? What is Clemson's recruiting base and like anymore? You know what I mean? They've gone and branched out so far from what they used to be. I mean, you could say Daniel High if you're joking, but like if we're realistically answering the question, there's no like real Clemson pipeline anymore like there used to be. Under I guess Dabo.
They used to always get players from Florida.
You said from Florida?
They used to get a lot of players from Florida. I mean, I still think they pick up some.
Well, they used to kill in recruiting in South Carolina and North Carolina, for that matter.
Well, if you look at a lot of the players they get are from Florida and Georgia. So
Florida and Georgia?
Yep.
Okay. Maybe they just shifted a little bit.
I can agree with you on the front of South Carolina getting a lot of the in-state kids, and that's great. But when you look at those players, it's not like a lot of those guys are, in the realm of, hey, we're going to go to Alabama, etc. You got a lot of lower star players that are.
The one they just picked up the other day was he was getting recruited by Clemson.
But that's a good point, Rob. But you also have to concede too that the ones who are getting the offers from Alabama and stuff are still going to Carolina. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But
South Carolina, I mean, you've got a lot of those in-state guys. You can make an argument that you built your team around them, but
yeah. Well, you think Eman Warrior was in-state, Sellers, fucking Mazio, Bennett, Dylan Thompson. Pretty much our whole O-line who wasn't a transfer was in-state, I think. Cool. Maybe Ryan Brubaker. I don't know if he played any minutes. He's from the Northeast, but
Clemson doesn't really have a map in recruiting anymore, Andrew. We're all over the place. We recruit everywhere.
Yeah, that's a national brand. I mean,
well, the thing is, Alabama, while it recruits nationally, Alabama still has its pipeline.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Clemson isn't going into specific schools anymore and picking out the cream of the crop at that school like I guess they used to and other big teams do.
We do have,
and they're also not winning the state, so that it seems like they're just going in and kind of going all over the place.
We do have a pipeline in state. You know that.
Well, that's why I said if you're joking,
Daniel High School.
Yeah,
pipeline.
But realistically speaking, though, I mean, those Daniel kids, they get the leftover scholarships. Let's be honest. Granted, there should never be leftover scholarships.
Right.
So, I don't know. I would.
Did you shave off your beard?
Am I drinking?
Yeah, I shaved it off.
Yeah.
I see that. You look like a dickhead. Why'd you do that?
I started looking like a billy goat, man. It's all gray down there, so I'm like, I don't want it anymore.
A beard can be a lot to upkeep.
I'm 32 years old.
Shows that you have wisdom.
Every other day. No, I mean, but regardless, what do you think about Do you wish Clemson would go back to the in-state recruiting method at all?
I miss it. Yeah, I'm from South Carolina. I'd love to see them recruit some of the home state. We get one every now and then.
That's what I'm saying. I think you got Amari Adams last year. I want to say he was either the best or the second best.
From South Florence High School.
Yeah, so it's not like you don't – I'm not saying you don't get any in-state kids, but there certainly isn't an emphasis that you would typically see because pretty much every single college recruits their own state pretty hard.
Right.
But Clemson doesn't really do that, especially maybe at the low end, but certainly not at the top end.
I got to show you this. I started in 2022. Let's look at this right here. This is straight from the 247 Sports website. This is in 2002. These are just the in-state players for South Carolina. Clemson had 4 out of the top 5. The first one that hit was for South Carolina was Nicky Mamori from Irmo.
And that's after Shane. I think that's Shane's first class, isn't it?
2022.
That's in 2022. I was going to look at 2023 here.
Well, 2022, I think, would have been his first full class because 2021 was the year he got hired.
To the transition on it because my argument is that there are – come on. There are
this website, I hate 247. It is not user-friendly, man.
So let's see here. So this is –
and then if you change any option, it'll go back to nationally. Have you noticed that?
I hate that. So 2023.
Yeah. It's so annoying, man.
All right, so the top players in 2023, Georgia.
Monroe Fielding. Monroe
Xavier.
Yeah, that's the one they bitch about.
If Georgia wants to kick him off the team, they don't like that guy.
Really?
They don't like Monroe Freeling. Apparently, he had a horrible.
Who's that went to Northwestern? Who's that dickhead?
Jordan Knox.
Jordan Knox.
Yeah.
Why the fuck did you go to Northwestern?
Never heard of it.
Dude, they didn't even have a stadium. They're playing on a practice field out by the lake.
Yeah, that was 2023. I'm checking 2024 now.
Have you seen what this stadium look like when they're done building it?
No. Did they put out concepts?
The thing's bad as fuck.
No.
Is it?
No, it's nice. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did you see how much it was going to cost them?
No, I didn't worry about the financial. I'm not paying for it, but
no, that's a good point.
Northwestern's right outside Chicago, right?
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is. It's right outside Chicago.
I thought it was.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. That's where Helinski finished his career. Did y'all know that?
Hunter Johnson from us tried his hand at being their quarterback a couple of years.
Who?
Hunter Johnson, the 5-star.
Oh, yeah.
You can make an argument about that, and you're right. I mean, but on the other hand, as
they're a tough out.
Yeah, well, anyway, back to the recruiting thing. I just think that Clemson doesn't. There's not the big amount of top talent in South Carolina. Maybe that's their logic. They want to go to Georgia and Florida to recruit and then take a flyer on some in-state guys. But
per capita, do y'all know who Jason Brown is? The Last Chance U head coach.
Yeah,
I was thinking the guy that quarterback for Carolina.
Yeah, no, not the quarterback. He does his own show now. He said while he was coaching and per capita, South Carolina has the best football athletes of anywhere in the country, in his opinion. And he's certainly no bias to any sort of Carolina team. He's out in California. But he said while he was coaching, in his opinion, per capita, South Carolina had the best football players of any state in the country. So
that's a low population, and
they don't show up in the top 100 a lot.
No, but you look 2-3 years down the line, though, TRD, and these guys who are 3-stars are now, all-star. What was Jalen Hyatt coming out of high school? Was he low 4-star, high 3-star?
You talking about the one that went to Tennessee, right?
Yeah, people pop up all around the country like that, man. So I don't know. I get where you're saying they're not ranked high enough, but it also could just be South Carolina relatively speaking, especially the athletes, come from pretty poor backgrounds. Those camps are expensive as shit, man. Those elite 8 camps, whatever they call them, the ID camps, that's how they do the rankings. Nobody's going and watching high school tape and doing rankings.
The thing with South Carolina is look at their high school baseball prospects. South Carolina's strong in baseball. Produce a lot of talent coming out of that state in baseball.
Really?
Well, god dang,
Nobody
we need
really-
to fucking pick some of it up for our damn baseball squad because those motherfuckers suck.
Yeah, I didn't think you guys would get swept. I know Arkansas is good, but I thought you guys had the pitch.
Well, I mean, goddamn. I mean,
Did y'all hear how that
tied at
pitcher got
4.
hurt?
They were tied at 4 in the top of the 8th inning. How do you let them explode on you for 7 runs? I mean, do you just not have a fucking bullpen at all? God dang.
Did y'all see?
ridiculous.
There was I forget who it was.
Horse shit.
I forget who it was. There was a pitcher who was slated to start for Carolina who couldn't. He got hit in the bullpen on the head by a home run and was forced to go into concussion protocol from it.
That's just horrible luck. That's horrible luck.
Literally. I don't know if it was in training or in a game. I saw a post about it on Instagram. But he got hit in the head by a baseball in the bullpen from a home run. It's crazy. Crazy luck.
I'm fixing to go down there and hit them in the dick with something if they don't start playing ball
Hit
better.
him in the dick.
It's just damn ridiculous
I
now.
think you and that head coach need to meet up maybe for an adult conversation if they don't start picking up.
That's what we do. I played North Carolina this week. That's probably a
I'm surprised
loss.
you and Lamont
And then
didn't
you're
have some
looking at
words too.
you got the Vols coming in this weekend to Founders Park. You're probably going to get swept by them.
Oh, who do you guys have next? Your SEC, Tennessee?
The Vols, yeah.
They
Ranger was a 3-star. Okay. Yeah.
Have they lost a game yet? At one time, they were
They lost one game.
East Tennessee State. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So I'm sure this is going to be a paddling.
Well, Kale,
Which I don't. We're going to lose to that fucking grease monkey coach of theirs, that fucking douchebag. I don't like, but I mean they're pretty damn good.
you got to understand also, even though he's an older coach, I think a little bit of leniency is due in any first-year head coach.
Yeah, but this guy's been around. Andrew.
That's what I'm saying. I understand he's old, but it's a different situation, different players.
Well, you know how it is with sports. It's instant gratification.
That's the truth too. That's why, especially for sports, I don't really give 2 shits about. I give them 1 or 2 years of losing. Football, I'm a little bit more patient because I actually care about the success of a team.
How many years?
I get what you're saying.
How many years was he at LSU for? He was there for a long time, right?
I can look.
Yeah, probably 10 years.
He won a natty with them, I think.
Yeah, and he was at Notre Dame before that.
Oh, okay.
He was at let me see, 15 seasons at LSU. He did 3 seasons, or no, he did 5 seasons at the Thomas Bearcats. He did
Thomas Bearcat.
It looks like
Where?
He did 5 seasons at the Air Force Falcons. He did 11 years at Notre Dame, and then 15 at LSU. That motherfucker is old. How old was he when he started coaching? He's been coaching for almost.
He's in his
He's been coaching since 1983.
I think he's in.
Yeah, man. I think he may have been on the Little League team with Babe Ruth.
Oh my god!
Jeez. Him and Billy went to preschool together.
Ty Cobb.
Coaching almost 50 years.
I still think he's a stopgap for Monty Lee. I still think that.
What'd you say?
I think he's a stopgap for Monty Lee.
Well, and here's a question I'll pose again. I posed it a couple streams ago. I'm thinking maybe it's trending towards the basketball. But there's a chance if that baseball team's terrible. I mean, I think it. Well, I'll pose it this way: between the basketball or the baseball team, which job do you think that AD is looking to replace sooner?
Probably
already.
Probably
because he's going. I guarantee you, he wants to make a big hire. He wants to make his splash. Everybody else is Ray Tanner's guys. He wants to make his.
Quarter Cup will be the first one on the
12
chopping
years
block.
ago, well, for a while, baseball was your best sport for year after year.
While Ray Tanner was there.
Yeah, I know. I made a video on this today. I mean, back in 2012-ish, you could almost argue that, I mean, they were almost thought of in the same light as like, well, maybe not quite as dominant, but they were about, you know, the level of like Don Staley's team is now, where if you weren't winning the Natty, you were going to be competing for it. And if you weren't, there was something wrong.
You guys, once Tanner left, in my opinion, you guys just made a couple of bad hires in a row. And
they went to shit.
As an ignorant baseball fan, how many years before we started winning? Like, I think it was 2010 we won the first one. How good were we before we actually got over the hill though?
Well,
let's say the 5 to 10 year stretch leading up.
99, you lost to Texas in the national championship.
Okay.
No, it was like 2002.
With Yaron Peters, that one guy, that dude, monster, man. God, he was a monster.
So it certainly wasn't something that just kind of popped up around 2010, is what you're saying.
Carolina always had a good baseball team, always.
You can make an argument that they are more of a baseball school before. I mean, just overall in general, they've never been a football school, but they've always been dominant in baseball.
Yep, always. Carolina.
I remember watching them play. I remember 1985. I remember watching them play in the College World Series the first time I ever really started paying attention to college baseball, because I had gotten into watching the Atlanta Braves and stuff on Superstation, and then I started watching some college baseball, and I'm like, oh, there's a World Series for that. I remember they were playing Arkansas in a game that went like 14 or 15 innings. And they lost, but I was like, "This is pretty cool." I mean, I didn't go to it. I'm saying I remember watching it.
What channel was it on? I don't ever remember seeing college baseball on TV.
They call ESPN.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, by the way, that reminds me. Just going back to football a little bit, kind of not an interesting stat. Did y'all know that Williams-Brice, according to the Gamecocks themselves, operated at 102% capacity for this past football season?
They were at over capacity.
Yeah, it's the highest attendance, I guess, ever in Gamecock history. They said the 2023 and 2024 season, so the past 2 years, are the first consecutive seasons at full capacity since 13-14. So I'm just excited, man. The program, there's so much excitement bubbling around the Gamecocks. I just think something's gonna hinge, man.
My wife is an architect, and she just heard what you said about overcapacity. You know what she said? Well, if they were overcapacitated, that's a fire code violation. I was like,
well, you know, at least 10% of them got thrown out, the highest ejection rate in the country. So probably by the first 10 minutes, it was back down to at least 100%. Yeah.
A shit about that too. They're like, look at it was on Twitter one time. It had the highest ejection rates. I'm like, well, it means they got the best security working there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you don't see mustard bottles and golf balls flying at head coaches.
You do not.
Whatever. I can't believe we're talking about that. Volcor asks, Rob, what do you think caused Clemson to lose to McNeese? Well, they decided not to play in the first half.
13 points in the first half might have something to do with it.
That's fucked up, man. Honestly, it's just as a non-biased, I just want to say 13 points in the first half that's fucked up, man.
That's why every time
nobody deserves that.
Every time Clemson basketball plays good and I see all the Clemson fans pumping them up, I'm like, they could shit on themselves against any team.
Yeah, I mean,
it's at the point now where we talk about this that Clemson baseball looks great until June gets here.
Yep.
Can they do well in June? Clemson basketball looks great until March gets here.
Yep.
Then they play a team that nobody knows anything about. No, nobody knew that McNeese, what state it was in. No one had a clue. And then Clemson goes out and loses. So a shithole.
I saw that's so terrible.
What'd you say, TRD?
I saw the halftime score. I'm like, yep, that's Clemson basketball in a nutshell. Play our worst game of the year when it matters.
Well, and the thing is, honestly, I wouldn't want any one of them on that team back on the team. I mean, a 13-point performance in the first half, that's a performance where you axe every single person who played.
And we're losing 70% of our scoring gone. So
that's probably a good thing. I mean, motherfuckers. I was listening on the radio, so I didn't get the full appreciation of what was going on. But
I'm not saying
it's hard
that
to make the
a terrible
hometown
team. Let me make sure that Volcor understands that. I'm just saying when you are a 5 seed,
yeah, you shouldn't lose first round.
You shouldn't score 13 points in the first half on a 12 seed. That should not ever.
Listen, you put up a scout team. I guarantee if it's played back again and it's just scout McNeese versus regular McNeese, the scout team of McNeese would probably put up at least 13 points, if not.
All the JV players and walk-ons.
That's what I'm saying. The walk-ons, just the training players for McNeese, if they just to put into context of how shitty it was just in Clemson's part, I think they would actually score more than 13 points and a half.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So really, it's not even saying McNeese is bad. It's just Clemson had an all-time kind of maybe the worst half in March history. Not game, because the second half they played well, but that first half, holy cow.
The worst half, they almost did the worst half. I think a Wisconsin team only scored 11 points.
Oh, was it really?
11 points, yeah.
Goodness, great, yeah. Well, 11, yeah.
A little bit of bracket updating here. I think a lot of us are going to go down on the Ole Miss Iowa State game as Ole Miss is up 65-43. And then Carolina Jackpot, though, looks like I'm in good shape here. I picked Oregon in the Sweet 16. They're up 21-10. The football score over their former conference rivals, the Arizona Wildcats.
Do they still have Keyshawn Bryant?
Who?
Oregon. That guy who transferred from Carolina just to destroy us last year.
That's Cousinard. You were talking about Cousinard.
Oh, Cousinard. I thought, yeah.
No, he's not there anymore.
Well, good. The big man needs to get paid. The Vegas, I mean, they got to hit their end. Which, by the way, you're not being affected by that wildfire up there, Cal.
What's that?
The wildfire up at Paris Mountain. You heard about that? Just making sure you were good. I don't know what area you live in. So
wildfire, is there one in Paris Mountain?
Yeah, it was like right at Table Rock is like 100 acres.
Well, Paris Mountain and Table Rock are two different places.
I might have messed up on the geography, but Table Rock is there, like Pumpkin Town, that area.
Table Rock's up. Well, that's a good ways for me. That's not that far from where the top of my route goes. The Pickens.
That's north.
Good. I was just making sure you were good. I've heard some people getting evacuated. I don't think they've got it contained at all yet, so we'll see. But hey, Billy, how about you call in and say it to my face?
Where are you at right now? I thought you were staying in Easley at one point.
I'm in Easley. Yeah, I see the smoke from it. There's actually a lot of smoke. So yeah, I can see a lot of. I don't know what they've got it down to, but it seems pretty bad from the amount of smoke.
Right, let's let Billy in here really quick because I want to. it's late.
You've talked
Billy.
All these clowns keep setting these damn fires and not taking care of them.
It was 4 teenagers.
I gotta drop a couple of you guys. So Peckerhead, I appreciate it. Pecker Red Devil, appreciate it. You got anything you want to say before you leave there, Peckerhead?
Yeah, Billy, you're old, and nothing's ever going to change that. As long as you live, you'll never see Tennessee win a natty. Lenore Sellers is better than Nico. Shane Beamer is better than Big Boy. South Carolina is going to run. No, I'm not going to say we're going to run the table. Let me walk back a couple steps. We're not going to run the table. but we're going
Oh
to
my
end the
God.
football team. Go Gamecocks. If I had a half zip, I'd wear it, but I don't own one. Change out of the fucking quarter zip. You don't deserve to wear it, Lamont. All right? Go
Gamecocks.
So,
All right, so let's
yeah,
bring Billy in here. Billy,
I
and
need
then
to
we'll close with
confess
Octavian.
my St. John's pick as a wild card went away. So
Do you have them picked for the national championship?
no. All my Final Four for the national championship is still alive. They're all. And
I think I
that's
had
where
them.
it
I
counts.
think I had St. John's getting beat out in the final 8. So, yeah.
Who's this guy that's leading in first place on the Callaway Pick'em?
A friend of mine from Louisiana.
Wow, my son's ahead of me.
Big LSU fan.
But
See, Rob brings these imports in to win our contest.
the best time of baseball at South Carolina, I had just come from Germany in 1974 and was very much interested playing at South Carolina, which was a pipe dream because Bobby Richardson was there, and anybody knows who Bobby Richardson was that was the best time for baseball and for South Carolina. He told me I needed to play at Sumter Junior College.
That was right before, was that right around the time Mookie Wilson played at Carolina?
70 does is in the 70s. He was there. His record there at South Carolina was phenomenal. All those
played for him or June Raines.
You know, he's the one that hit the famous shot heard around the world for the Yankees back in the day, Bobby Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
But in baseball, everybody has a different philosophy, and I don't want to argue about this, but bottom line comes down to this. There's only one way to score a run in baseball, and it has nothing to do with the glove. I know I'm going to hear all the variables, but I'm telling you, you give me the best hitters, I'll give you the best fielders, and we'll see who comes out on top. And that's a fact. Most of your junior colleges and small colleges and college, that's the way they recruit. It's not – if you can't hit, you're not playing on a college baseball team nowadays. You got to be able to put the ball in play, and you got to have wheels. You don't see this, and that's just the way it goes. You got to have pitching, blah, blah, blah. But, if you can't get on base, you're not going to win. And like I say, I'll give you the best defensive players. You give me the best hitters that can't catch, and we'll see who wins.
Cool.
It's, no.
Agreed.
It's, this guy has a resume. Give him time. And it has nothing to do with his age. Give him time. Give him 3 or 4 years. And
here's the thing: he's so old. If they just give him another year, he may just die anyway.
Oh please! Well, I'm sure the nutritionist now has what's these Boost and these senior drinks.
Got Boost on the training table.
Boost on the training table at South Carolina now. You can see Ray Tanner. What's this $5,000 bill last month for Boost?
Old as hell. That's all.
What's this about?
When we went to the South Carolina Texas A&M game, right? Like they brought him on the court, and he was like supposed to lead the team in the Gamecocks chant, where half the stadium says game, the other half says Cox, right? But he just seemed like he didn't know what the fuck he was doing. It was like you can't get this rowdy bunch of motherfuckers to do the Gamecocks chant. I mean, how can we expect you to rally this baseball team when you can't get a bunch of – like the students were looking at him like, who is this old fuck? I mean,
they should have been easy because they're all chomping at the bit to do it anyway.
That's what I'm saying. But he couldn't I guess, grasp the concept of this side is going to say game and that side is going to say Cox. And you just point and just point at the screen. And they even have it up there on the screen. Game over here and Cox over there. So, I mean, it's like they have it built for you. So it's not hard. But it was the most, like, it was just sad. I saw him and I was like, man, I hope this guy can coach. He can't lead the team in any kind of chanting because they're not going to be, that's just not going to happen. So you got drunks that sit in the stands at Billy Bryce that can get the damn thing going. This guy's won a national title in baseball and can't get, the student section to do it. It's like, the hell's going on there? So,
yeah, as far as baseball, Tennessee lost. They lost a game. They won the series, but they lost a game to Alabama this past weekend. And they lost a game last week in the middle of the week to ETSU.
I watched that. They were winning like 6-4 or something. ETSU had a home run.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You can be ranked number 1 in the nation, be top of the thing in fielding percentage. All it does is take one hitter. Good hitting beats good pitching every day. All it takes is one swing of the bat.
I'm sorry. The Notre Dame team that put Tennessee out a couple of years ago when Tennessee had all those hitters, they were a pitching team, sir. That's what they were.
But they had a great offensive day. That's again, scoring a run in baseball has nothing to do with the glove, Rob Sanders.
I'm just saying that you were leading in everything, and then Notre Dame came in and like they didn't play their first home game until I don't know. The 1st of April, but they still managed to whip that Tennessee ass.
Oh, I need to remind Chris Knipe over here. He's sniping at me and everything. Chris, on your tips today, you do know you don't have to file them for taxes anymore. So don't claim your taxes after today. And make sure you come up with 5 things tomorrow at work, what you did last week.
Right.
By the way, what do you do, Chris?
Jeez, why are we so harsh to each other?
Well, Chris Knapp over there running his little mouth. Yeah. How do you get kicked out of the South Carolina National Guard anyway?
Wait, is that what happened to him?
Somebody had Brandon says George Foreman passed away last night. Somebody had a really kind of, it was kind of unclassy post over on X that was George Foreman's coffin. Had a white top and bottom, and the inside of it looked like a grill.
Do you know they said he sold over 100 units of that? He made more money off the grill than he did boxing.
He did.
I'm sure he did.
He sold over 100 units.
Because you got to think when he was in his heyday in boxing was what, the 70s? Yeah, I mean, they probably wasn't making that much.
No, I remember the Rumble in the Jungle.
Well, people forget also, like they remember that, but they don't also remember that. I mean, he was really good. Like he I think he knocked out Joe Frazier. I mean, he had like the loss to Ali was a hell of a loss, but I mean, he was
I
really
remember
good.
that, and that was debatable. I mean, that was debatable, but yeah. But how many boxers come back 20 years later and win he won the heavyweight championship in the 90s.
Yeah,
he was in his 40s.
Michael Moore and went out there and knocked him out. So yeah, that's true. But he was also he was big with ministry stuff. Like he spent supposedly the majority of his money just helping people out in Texas.
Yes, he did.
Stuff like that.
And he named he got 5 or 6 sons, and he named them all George.
I think he had 14 kids, some ridiculous number like that.
All the boys were named George.
All the boys were named George. Let me look that up.
Yeah, we know what he was doing when he wasn't grilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's grilling all right.
Number of children. Yeah, let's see here. He had he had 12 kids.
That we know of.
That's what he said. He had 12 kids. I mean,
that we know of.
He had all 5 of his sons were named George, and then the daughters' names were Natalia, Leola, Mishi, Georgetta, and Frida.
Dang.
Right.
Well, now why did they all get a different name?
Because he wanted a bunch of George Juniors.
Why couldn't they have a bunch of Fridas?
Can you imagine being like the fifth George? Like, hey, you're the last George. Jesus.
Fireball. Don't kick a good man when he's down.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Yeah,
all right,
it's just. And
you
by
have
the way, y'all need to switch places. Rob's got to be on the left side and Jackpot's got to be on the right as we're viewing this. I don't like change. Change isn't good for older people. So,
well,
okay, Rob, did you hear that? Let's get that straightened back out.
I'll work on that.
Well, it's because his thing. We were originally that way. He had a snafu with his internet.
There we go. There we
had to get it rearranged. Well, there you go.
There we go. I was hoping Chris Knipe would come on here.
No, we don't want you getting.
Chris hadn't gotten on there in a while.
Better.
Yeah. Why don't you end with?
Hey, this is a true fact. You can look this up. One of the lone surviving people from Custer, and I'm not trolling. This is fact. You can look it up. His last name was Knipe, just like Christopher, survivor of Custer's Last Stand.
Huh.
Trivia question. These volunteer fans can be ruthless. No, just a couple of us. All season long, it hurt me, pained me badly when Lamont Paris didn't take South Carolina to the NIT. It pained me bad. I thought for sure if they got in, they would have made a run, but I guess he already had peoples that were skipping town. But
I think a lot of Gamecock fans are just happy the season's over, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, which is sad. I like basketball.
So on to baseball. Oh, never mind.
Go down like 4 flats on a Cadillac.
Your softball team's pretty good, Jackpot. You guys are just ready for football season to get here. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, Billy, I appreciate it, man. We got to get moving, though.
When y'all going to change this to 8 o'clock so Jackpot can go to bed early?
We'll talk about that. We'll work it out.
Are you able to hang there, Jackpot, or what?
No, I mean we can probably move the show to 8 o'clock. That'd be fine. I don't think.
Will they still make no-dos?
Am I able to hang? What 8 o'clock? I can hang at 9
o'clock. You didn't hang last week.
He was.
Yeah, I did. I hung around in my bed.
Oh, I was going to call you and wake you up like you did me the previous morning at 9:30.
I never called you and woke
you
you
did.
up.
You text me, got me up at 9:30, wanting to know if I had another.
Dude, it's 9:30 in the morning. I sent him a text.
I hadn't even rolled over yet.
His basketball entry.
Yeah.
I mean, get described.
That was Billy Cole III.
And I had been up since 3 o'clock that morning. I mean, I don't remember. That's me. I mean, I can't be quite so. I don't know, just wrapped up in myself. I got to remember, hey, everybody else didn't get up at 3 o'clock this morning and start delivering.
Is that what time you get up? Oh, yeah. Man. Yeah, we need to think about changing this up a little bit. But anyway, I'll see y'all later.
Sometimes it's 4. Tomorrow morning, it's going to be 4.
We used to do the show at 10. Remember that? We used to do it at 10.
Oh, yeah.
That's way too.
Was it 10 or was it 9:30? I thought it was 9:30.
That's all like the other night when
it was 10. That was back when the Comrade was on. That was when it was X-rated. It couldn't come on until like late at night back then.
All right, Billy. I appreciate it, man.
Bye.
Billy.
Bye-bye.
All right, Jackpot. It's been a good show. I was just looking at, by the way, for some reason, the Citadel made the College World Series in 1990. I don't know why that was.
They did.
They did. So there you go. Fun fact. All right.
No, there wasn't anything wrong with my blood pressure. It was when it was off the other week. It was an error with the machine, I guess. Has the Citadel ever made a NCAA basketball tournament?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I could check it.
I don't think they have. I don't think they've ever been in March Madness.
Basketball in the yeah, well, so D1 schools who have never made it include, the Citadel, Army, Bellarmine, Bethune-Cookman, California Baptist, Central Arkansas, Chicago State, the Citadel, and Denver. Those are D1 teams that have not made the tournament. Citadel's got to roll through the SoCon one year.
So it ends at D?
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know, man. When I went
Poor
down there, they were pretty ass.
Hold on, there's more. There's more. Sorry.
They were ass.
Oh, yeah. Denver.
Has VMI ever made it?
Here you go. Denver, Elon, Incarnate Word, Kansas City, Maine. There's a lot of teams. NJIT, North Alabama, Presbyterian. South Carolina Upstate has never made the tournament.
That's shocking.
Utah Tech. VMI, I guess, has made it. They're not listed here. Here's a fun.
South Carolina State. I guess South Carolina State's made it.
Army qualified for the NCAA tournament. Oh, yeah, South Carolina State's made it in 1968. But then Black Knights coach Bobby Knight had his team play in the NIT instead. No, thanks. Yeah, that's what I'm reading here. Army qualified for the tournament in 68. But Bobby Knight says, yeah, no, we're not gonna play in the NIT.
So I guess he was a non-conforming bastard even back then.
Pretty much. There you go.
I forgot he coached there.
Yeah, Mike Krzyzewski coached there.
Coach K was there too.
Yeah. So there you go, jackpot. All right,
you've had some damn good coaches over the years.
They have, and then they never made the tournament. So
that's weird.
All right, jackpot. It's been a good show, man. We'll talk to you guys later on.
All right, gang.